They ripped off a car with a dog in it and then left that dog to die. Here with the dog's owner said in court at the sentence hearing in Palmer today.
Stealing from the Girl Scouts, the lessons they learned after someone gave them fake money.
And students in the state capitol speak out about guns. Hear what they and Governor Walker have to say.
And Iditarod 46 may have a winner, but many teams still crossing the finish line. Tonight, the latest from Nome.
You're watching Alaska's high-definition news leader. This is KTVA 11 News Nightcast.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Joe Vihel.
And I'm Emily Carlson. Your Olsum is the 2018 Iditarod champion.
That's right. He arrived in Nome just after 3 this morning, followed by Nick Petit, but mushers are still coming in, and KTVA 11's John Thompson is there with more finishers.
Rookie musher Matt Hall and his team are no newbies when it comes to long-distance racing. This team won the 2017 Yukon Quest and placed runner-up to Alan Moore this year. Well, 11th place for Hall in his first Iditarod, a good learning experience, and a beautiful day in Nome for his finish.
Oh, it was good. It was perfect. The run was a little shorter than I thought it was going to be. I was thinking I was going to be finishing after dark, and then a couple hours out, like when I got into safety, I was like, oh, you guys are 10 miles sooner than I thought. And here we are a few hours earlier.
A nice finish, but Mother Nature was not kind on the trail. Veteran musher Aaron Burmeister finished about an hour after Hall with 11 young dogs, just happy to complete the race.
I mean, anybody that finishes this race has been a challenge, and to be able to compete at the level that we all have is incredible. Jor, Mitch, all the guys up front set a pace. We all were breaking trail through some incredible storms and incredible weather, and just not like one storm or two storms in a big race, but it was a storm 7 days in a row pretty much on different stretches of the trail, so it had challenges.
A challenging Iditarod, but all smiles when Nome native Aaron Burmeister entered Front Street with 4-year-old daughter Kayana on his sled and 9-year-old son Hunter and wife Mandy waiting under the arch.
Not just Nome, but from Caltech to Unaclate, every village all the way up the coast, it's like being at home. Everybody comes out to see us, and it really makes it all worthwhile.
Now Hall, Burmeister, and their teams will get some well-earned rest while we wait for 46 more teams to find the beacon that is the Burled Arch. John Thompson, KTVA 11 Sports.
And here's a look at the top 5 finishers. Again, your Olsum is first, Nick Petit second, Mitch Seavey third, and Ray Reddington Jr. and Peter Kaiser round out the top 5. Richie Deal arrives at 2:19 this afternoon, Jesse Holmes 30 minutes later. Ramey Smith hit the finish line at 3:10. Travis Beals about a half hour later, and Lidwood Fielder arrived in Nome just before 4:30 this afternoon to round out the top 10. Some mushers, again, still making their way into Nome.
Yeah, more than 40 left. So what's the weather looking like as they come in? Carlos, what's the latest from Nome?
Well, it's some of the mildest weather that they've encountered when you hear what Mr. Burmeister was talking about. And but that doesn't mean that it's not going to be cold, and there will be some breeze out there. Let's take a look right now. And the mushers pretty much are on their way. Some of them will be moving through Shaktoolik or have already passed by there. And what we're looking at is just lots of stars out there, but there will be some clouds. Temperatures dropping down to around 0 and making it up into the mid-teens. That is a little bit colder than earlier in the interior parts of the race there. 5 to 10 mile-an-hour winds over there in Caltech. Golovin also very even light winds. But keep in mind, these winds are a little bit kind of deceptive. There can be wind kicking up at any time, as the mushers will tell you out there, and in specific locations. But you can see all throughout the rest of the race where the mushers are going to be, it's going to be sunny, and winds are not at least forecast to be very strong for the majority of the race. So it's going to be pretty comfortable, I think, if you can describe comfortable after a 1,000-mile race. Joe, Emily?
All right, Carlos, thanks. And dogs showed up at Iditarod headquarters today.
Really? You have a lot to say.
The dogs didn't make it all the way to Nome, flew back to Anchorage for their short stay at the Lakefront Hotel. Dog drop coordinator Shannon Post says it takes about 3 hours to unload the dogs and get them to their respective kennels. During that time, they got a medical checkup and a meal. And to make sure there's no confusion, the handlers used the same technology as pet owners.
And we'll just start at the other end and place the dogs down the line. We'll check that we have their medical record, and that then they'll start chip checking, because the microchip is the unique identifier. Like, I know that dog's that dog. So yep, you know, Joe is going back to Barney, so we know that the right dog is going right back to the right person.
Post says they've been making improvements and the dog tracking is more efficient than before. There's a core staff of about 10 people in Anchorage, plus volunteers. Everyone working with the dogs is highly qualified as either a vet tech, a licensed vet, or has experience as a dog handler or with rescue dogs. She calls the volunteers the lifeblood of the race, and if you are interested in volunteering, you can apply through the Iditarod website.
You're watching KTVA 11's Nightcast with Joe Behill and Emily Carlson, Chief Meteorologist Carlos Fora, and Sports with Dave Goldman.
A man accused of attacking people with a broken beer bottle refused to show up in court for the third day in a row. 29-year-old Henry Luther is charged with an attack at Black Angus Inn on Sunday. Police say he broke a beer bottle and stabbed a man and a woman in the head and then left and used a chain to assault another woman. Police say one of the two security guards fired at him as they struggled to put handcuffs on Luther. No one was hurt. He faces 9 assault charges. We're told he will be in court tomorrow by force if necessary.
Today, more than 35 Anchorage faith leaders announced their opposition to Proposition 1, which is on the ballot. You will soon get in the mail. Prop 1 would force transgender individuals to pick a restroom or locker room based on their biological sex at birth. Now, this would go for all public muni restrooms and allow private businesses to follow suit. The measure seeks to undo part of the updates to Anchorage's equality ordinance adopted in 2015. The group, which held a news conference today, is made up of different religious leaders.
Proposition 1 unfairly targets our transgender parishioners, neighbors, friends, and co-workers and family members in a way that singles them out due to mistrust, fear, and quite frankly, ignorance.
KTVA reached out to Jim Minery, a proponent of Prop 1, for his response today, but so far we haven't heard back.
An Anchorage-based company will oversee the bulk of cleanup of an oil spill near Kodiak. This is all that's left of a collapsed building that pushed a fuel bladder with 3,000 gallons of fuel oil into the waters of around Shuyak Island 2 weeks ago. Since then, crews have put more than 3,000 feet of floating boom around the spill to contain it and remove 239 bags of oily waste. Tomorrow, Global Diving and Salvage will bring in a crane and barge to remove the rest of the oil. The Coast Guard says no wildlife has been impacted, and there is no oil outside that floating boom.
The Alaska Weather Center. Here's Chief Meteorologist Carlos Fora.
Well, you can tell we're getting close to spring. Look at that, 11 hours, 46 minutes for tomorrow's daylight. Sunrise at 8:15, sunset 8:02. But you wouldn't know it from the weather we're having. We had that snow falling us today, no accumulations. But as you can see, we're right on the line, and it's slowly pushing away from us as the pattern starts to change a little bit. And this is the next system that's going to be affecting us out here. You can see a lot of clear air, and we have clear skies out in Nome where the Burled Arch is, and it's 5 below, so the cold air is there. Meanwhile, down in Anchorage, this is what it looks like. You can still see a glow on the horizon. And down in Juneau, we're looking at some wet roads, and it looks like you're going to be seeing a pretty dry day for the most part for tomorrow. Temperatures at 38 in Juneau right now, and the wind is calm, rising barometric pressure, and we are looking at that nice live shot from Eagle River down. You can see on the horizon there's Anchorage. We have calm winds too in Anchorage, and we have rising pressure. So here's the setup. We've got the ridge of high pressure out here in the northwest. That's what's giving all that sunshine for the last legs for the mushers. Eastern half of the state, that's where we have some sun or some clouds and some snow that's going to be coming on down. And then this next system is going to be racing into our area here. As you take a look at the computer model, you can see as this pushes on up, it kicks out this system that brought us our light snow showers today. And as we take a closer look here at the possible accumulations, tomorrow mostly cloudy, increasing clouds. And you can see we have to wait to the evening before we can get some snow showers, but there will be some passing by. Question is it going to stick, because temperatures are going to be fairly mild then, and it's probably light to no accumulations. Meanwhile, down on the Panhandle, we're looking at areas of fog, some isolated showers for you. Out in the interior, as you can see, we do have some winter weather advisories. They're starting, well, the wind advisory starts tomorrow night and goes to Friday, but the snow advisory over in the eastern Alaska Range, that shuts off tomorrow morning. On the North Slope, there will be some blowing snow and a chance of snow, and then there's winter weather advisories. In fact, there's even more than you see right here. We have some in Bristol Bay for that same storm system that's going to be racing into the Aleutians and bringing some rain and snow showers and some wind to them. Meanwhile, on the Kenai, we're looking at cloudy skies, increasing clouds. You could be looking at some scattered snow showers mixed with rain on the east side. On the west side, just scattered snow showers. And same type of thing here, but you're going to have to wait till I think tomorrow night before you see some of those showers coming down. Up in the valley, probably the evening, by the time you get some light snow showers. And by the way, it's still snowing in Palmer right now. And here in the Anchorage Bowl, we're looking at increasing clouds. Chance of snow starts in the evening. And once again, it's not a whole lot of snow. So looking at that 7-day forecast and breaking down the days for you, on Thursday, once again tomorrow, we're going to start out with some sun breaks, but we'll see increasing clouds. And eventually, I think what we're talking about here on Thursday itself is just looking at the chance of snow starting in the evening out there. Those roads are going to be slick because we're starting in the well below freezing category and territory out there, and everything that melted today is going to end up freezing overnight, so it's going to be slick driving. And you can see temperatures still stay pretty mild, so we've got that freeze in the overnight, thaw in the afternoon sticking around with us all the way through the weekend. And then next week we start to get a little bit cooler here, which is kind of ironic because when you take a look here on Tuesday, what we're looking at pretty much is just springtime is starting here. Once again, these days are getting pretty long out there. Daylight amount for tomorrow is 11 hours 46 minutes, and I know you two are happy about that.
Sure are.
KTVA 11 Sports with Dave Laval.
Alaska's version of March Madness is here. The Alaska Airlines is host to the 1A state basketball tournament. Birchwood and Teller in the final game of first-round action tonight. Warriors drive, lose the ball, but it ends up in the hands of Seth Alexander. He gets the basket. It's been a tough season for Birchwood as the Warriors won their first ever conference title, but without one player. This is him, 14-year-old freshman Brandon Kramer. He died from cancer last October. His brother, who also plays on the team, calls it a bittersweet moment.
It's pretty hard not be able to play with him since I always wanted to be able to play my last 2 years of high school with him. And I think he would have really loved being able to be on the team where we got to go to state.
We will have a full story on Brandon Kramer on KTVA.com. By the way, the Warriors advance with tonight's 60-30 victory. Toksuk and King Cove in another first-round game tonight. Elena Mack gets the ball, and she hits for three to open the scoring. Then Josephine Kakuchin drives the lane for the Islanders. She connects for two. But too much King Cove in this one as the rookies roll 53-28. The 1A tournament continues tomorrow, same time the 2A tournament starts. You can get all of the scores and schedules at KTVA.com. The University of Virginia is the #1 overall seed in this year's NCAA tournament. All the action starts tomorrow morning at 8 right here on KTVA. That means no 9 a.m. daybreak, 5, 6, and 6:30 p.m. newscast tomorrow or Friday. The Iditarod has a new champion tonight, and for the first time in about a dozen years, that person's last name is not Seavey or Mackey. Your Leifseth Olsum reached the Burled Arch in Nome at 3 o'clock this morning. He captured his first Iditarod title in 9 days and 12 hours. Meanwhile, Girdwood's Nicholas Petit came in second a little more than 2 hours later. He came in with 10 dogs and told KTVA he competed with his strongest team yet. So let's take you to the leaderboard right now. As we said, Your Olsum first, Nick Petit second, Mitch Seavey third, Ray Reddington Jr. and Peter Kaiser round out the top 5. Richie Deal arrived at 2:19 this afternoon. Jesse Holmes, 30 minutes later. Ramey Smith hit the finish line at 3:10. Travis Beals about a half hour later. And Linwood Fiedler arrived in Nome just before 4:30 this afternoon to round out the top 10. Finally, this is video of Dallas Seavey when he arrived at a checkpoint yesterday in first place of Norway's Finnmark Slopet. Right now, Seavey remains in first place. He's less than 300 miles from the finish line.